Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. And you are very welcome, my friends. So welcome to my Smallville Season 5 review. 5 seasons of Smallville and we were only getting started. But let's list the achievements of Season 5 of Smallville. Aquaman in the episode Aqua. Cyborg in the episode Cyborg. The introduction of Brainiac as the arcing villain of Season 5. And boy, did he have an ingenious plan. So he wants to release Zod from the Phantom Zone. First, his plan is to get Clark to be the vessel for Zod. But when that doesn't work, it ends up being Lex. But we really need to talk about this season because this was a massive departure. First episode, Arrival is a great episode. I remember watching this. The VFX is freaking amazing. It really is. You've got the big ship. You've got the aliens coming out. But ultimately, the most amazing thing is seeing Smallville's version of the Fortress of Solitude rise. What a great moment that is. That's all VFX when you see it rise, and it looks beautiful. And you see Clark in the distance walking towards it. It's absolutely freaking awesome, and it's full of achievements. They honour kind of John Barry's design of the Fortress of Solitude from Superman the movie. How awesome is that? When we go inside the fortress on Smallville, it's very, very similar. There are differences. Absolutely, there are differences, but it is stunning. It is beautiful, and it's very faithful to John Barry's. Is it John Barry? I forgot. Anyway, I forgot his name. Is it John Barry? Or is that the anyway? You know who I'm talking about. It's a brilliant design, and it deserves to be faithful to and brilliant. So you've got Terra Stamp's voice. He's telling Clark he has to train him. It's absolutely brilliant. Arrival is just a great, great episode. So at the beginning of the season, Jason's obviously dead. Lana's not very happy with Lex. Clark and Lana decide to have a relationship, and Clark's lost his powers because Jor-El's taken away from him. Clark thinks this is great. For the first time in his life, he can be a human being. He's not listening to the alarm bells in his head. This is a lesson. This is not permanent, of course, because Jonathan's so wise, and I love Jonathan, and I love what a great father figure he is. And Snyder was amazing. And I've seen and heard Snyder being interviewed. He really believes in the character he was playing, and I love that. So anyway, you get to episode 2. It's pretty much a generic story, but there's something really awesome behind it. And it's an okay episode. The best bit of that is when Chloe finds out that Pete already knows Clark's secret. And she goes, what, Pete knew your secret? Yes, because he saw my spaceship. He saw your spaceship? Hilarious. And I love all that. And Alison Mack is just, whatever happens with her legal problems, Alison Mack was really, really special. But one of the best episodes of Smallville I've ever seen is Hidden, which is episode 3 of season 5. Why is this a special episode? Well, it starts off quite slow. You think it's another mundane, generic filler, but it's not. This episode ends up being something extremely special. So you've got this kid whose dad was a meteor freak. He gets this missile. He's going to destroy Smallville because of all the meteor infected in the town. So his whole plan, he's obsessed with Chloe, so he wants to protect Chloe. He gets Chloe to go to the silo with him. He shoots Clark while he's still human. So Clark dies. So then you see Lionel Luthor in the asylum. He wakes up. He's being driven by Jor-El, basically. He goes back to the fortress. Clark reappears, comes back to life in the fortress, and Lionel Luthor is Jor-El. And John Glover, nothing should surprise me with John Glover. He does a great Marlon Brando impression. Marlon Brando playing Jor-El from Superman the movie. And it's brilliant. And basically, he says this. This rectification doesn't come without a price. The life of someone close to you will be taken for yours. So Clark's like, no, I don't want that. I would never ask for that. And it's just so beautiful. It's the biggest twist. Clark pays the biggest consequence for trying to run away from who he is. What our Miles were doing with this show, especially at this point, was beautiful. But what's even more beautiful is how Rosenbaum is amping up his Lex. All of a sudden, he's not the amiable, nice Lex. He's embracing the villain part of him, and it's really, really good. So we're going through the season. We're getting really, really good episodes. And, of course, we get to the 100th episode. But actually, I'm forgetting. Episodes 7 and 8 are brilliant. You've got Splinter, which I think is episode 7, when Clark is splintered by what? Silver kryptonite, is it? I think it's silver, and he becomes paranoid. Great episode. Then Solitude, episode 8. That is one of my favourite episodes of the season. It is so damn good. And so you get Solitude. So what Brainiac does, because Clark still thinks he's fine, Professor Milton fine, so he gives Martha this disease so he can control Clark. So he can persuade Clark to tear down the fortress and release Zod. And ultimately, Clark reveals himself as Brainiac, basically, admits it's a trick, and he wants to kill Clark. He doesn't need Clark anymore. And then Clark and Brainiac have this awesome fight in the fortress. I love it, because Smallville didn't have the budget for, skull ships and Brainiac in his true form, like we saw on the Krypton TV show. That's awesome. But what they did, they gave us a very popular actor, from Buffy, basically. He does a great job. He really does. I've got so much respect for the actor who plays Brainiac on Smallville. He really does sell it, and I love that fight in the fortress. So awesome. But there's other things in that episode that are very emotional rather than awesome and epic. And it's Clark. He will do anything to save his mum's life. And when I'm rewatching this episode a few weeks back, it's when my mum first went into hospital. She's been in a coma for over a month now. And it just made me realise how we try and hold on to our parents so tightly, even when they're older, even then when we can't accept that one day they're going to die. So I found that episode very emotional. That's my phone. Ignore it, because it's not getting answered while I'm doing a video and I'm not starting again. So anyway, let's continue. So that's Solitude is a really, really good episode. So now we get to episode 12, the 100th episode of Smallville. It is no mean feat to get 100 episodes in network television. They work hard towards it, and they're very excited when they get there. But when I look at Arrow reaching 100 episodes, to me, it's not the same achievement as Smallville reaching 100 episodes. Smallville were building to something. This is a brilliant character-driven pre-Superman story. This series wouldn't have looked out of place on HBO. You may mock, you may laugh, but I'm telling you, it wouldn't. So this is a great episode. So, of course, our Miles made this big controversial decision to kill off Jonathan Kent. Now, we know in versions of the comic he dies of a heart attack. In Superman the movie, he dies. In Man of Steel, he dies. They could have kept him alive. I personally would have liked him alive to the final season, because if he dies in the final season, it's even more compelling. But despite that, I kind of get why our Miles kill him off. It's done in such a great way. He becomes senator. He has a fight with Lionel Luthor. He gets a heart attack and he dies. And it's so tragic. And there's no big speeches. You get at the start when Jonathan says, I'm looking at my son who's become a man, who doesn't look at his dad. And you get this whole thing from Clark saying, I'm always going to need you, Dad. So emotional, so beautiful. It isn't a big speech. And when he's laying on the floor dying, he doesn't make those stupid Hollywood speeches. He looks at Clark, he looks at Martha, and he just closes his eyes. But this funeral in this fucking episode is outstanding. No words, just music. I agree. That song sums up Jonathan Kent, sums up Clark, and Clark goes on to blame himself for his dad's death until season 10, when good Brainiac revisits him in what is it, the 200th episode? I can't remember which one. It was another anniversary episode, right? But this is about season 5. I went back to save Lana. Now Dad's gone. Haunting words that would haunt Clark for another 5 and a bit years. Beautiful. Tom Welling is amazing. Annette Tor is amazing. The whole cast are on it in this episode. I love the funeral. The way it's shot is so freaking amazing. When I remember when Lois and Chloe are walking away and they look back and look at Clark, it's so beautiful and it's so emotional, and it reminds me how special the talent on this show was. Smallville no way had the budget of Arrowverse, but I think Greg Beeman directed the episode. He always directed the big episodes. Great director. That guy could actually direct a Superman movie. He's that good. Greg Beeman is a great television director, but he could be a great movie director as well. And he captures it. The snow. That freaking funeral is so emotional. So emotional. And as my mum's been in a coma for all these weeks, and I haven't known if she's going to live or die, that song is in my fucking head all the time. Amazing, amazing show. So proud to be a Smallville fan. I remember when I first watched it, Jonathan Kent was like my TV dad. He's so amazing. Schneider played it so damn freaking well. You believe him when he's talking to Clark, when he's advising Clark. That's my dad. If I had a choice of a dad, he would be my dad. Not that I don't love my dad, but Jesus Christ, he's the perfect. No wonder Clark becomes Superman, for Christ's sake, with a dad like that. It's brilliant. And I just look back and Schneider was amazing. And a sad loss to the show, but they gave him a few extra episodes to come back as a ghost and stuff, and that really worked. So after the episode Jonathan dies, after the 100th episode, Smallville freaking changes forever. It all of a sudden becomes this dark, brooding superhero movie. And it's amazing. As I say, we suddenly see Lex blatantly be doing some badass things. He's messing, he's experimenting like Lex Luthor in the older Superman comics, the mad scientist kind of thing. And it's really, really awesome. The Cyborg episode for me is a massive achievement. It's a massive achievement. And, I just want to shout out the actor, the young actor at the time. He's actually passed away now. He did a brilliant job as Cyborg. I really did like him, and very sad that he passed away. He was a great Cyborg. I think they did really, really well with what they could do with that character on Smallville. But it was a really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. And again, you see Lex Luthor being Lex Luthor, as you do in the Aquaman episode as well. Brilliant. So some really, really good episodes. You even get an episode that kind of talks about Chloe's mental health again. Nobody believes that she's seen this ghost of this young girl in her apartment. And it's brilliant. Any Chloe-focused episode was brilliant. And this was special. This really was. And again, you see the bond between her and Clark, because really, you've got Lex and Lana are kind of bonding now. Yeah, this is the beginning of Lex and Lana. That was probably even more controversial than killing off Jonathan Kent. Let me tell you, because I'll talk more about this when I review season 6, which will take a while, because I'll put in disc 1 of season 6 and it's freaking scratched. So I've checked them. Season 6 and 7 are scratched. I can't fix them. So I've had to order the DVD of season 6 because I can't get it on Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray of season 7. So I'll be getting them, and I'll be watching those seasons and reviewing them, because I never got a chance at the time to review Smallville on a YouTube channel. So this is really exciting for me, and I hope you, my fellow Smallville fans, are enjoying it too. Yes, so as we go on, it's a very dark, brooding superhero movie, the second part of Smallville season 5, and I love it. Yeah, so why did a lot of people not like Lex and Lana together? Obviously, the Lana fans didn't like it for obvious reasons. Let me tell you why Alan Miles did it. Because, again, they're kind of swapping characters around. Lex and Lon had never really spent a prolonged time together. And I remember Michael saying in an interview, at first him and Kristen didn't really get each other, but then I think they went out to dinner, started spending some time together, and they clicked, and I think it worked, and you could see it within them being together on Smallville. I actually liked Lex and Lana being together. The only negative, I think, it changed what Lex was within the show. He was still Lex Luthor. His scenes were still great, but it was more about his relationship, I suppose. But let's be honest about it. Season 6 is the rise of Lex Luthor. And I don't want to talk about Season 6 because we're here to talk about Season 5. So as Season 5 reaches its ending, Brainiac's plan is revealed. And it's a fucking great plan. And he sucker punches Lex into the whole thing. He tells Lex that these aliens are trying to release a deadly toxin. He needs Luthor Corp to bring these deadly kind of viruses in. And Lex kind of does it. Now, in a way, I'm thinking, doesn't that make Lex look dumb? But I suppose if you're going to be outsmarted by someone, and if it's Brainiac, then you're not dumb. Because Brainiac is Brainiac, isn't he? So I really like that. So we get to the finale, of course, but we get to, before the finale, it's Clark's 19th birthday. He sees, let's go back, because you've got that brilliant episode when Lana, after being dumped by Clark, is addicted to this kryptonite cocktail. It's like a Flatliners episode, so she dies for a few seconds and sees her dead parents. So Clark gets injected by this. So he sees his real deal, the ghost of his dad, and his dad tells him what happened, that Lionel Luthor was the cause of his death, that they fought, and that he comes up, and again, Schneider sells this line. He comes up with this great line. You, son, have got to save everyone, the whole world. You're a symbol, son. You're a symbol for justice. That is so emotional to me. That is what Superman is. And the way Schneider delivers that is so damn awesome. And I love it. And I love this show. And it's still the greatest show in the superhero TV genre. Fuck Daredevil. Fuck Marvel Netflix. Fuck Arrowverse. Smallville is the greatest and always will be. So we go to the finale, or we go to the kind of penultimate episode of the season. He's revisited by a ghost, which appears to be a ghost of Jonathan Kent. Of course, it's Brainiac fucking with him and Martha. So that's a great episode, because that's really about his trust of his dad. Would his dad actually ask him to kill Lionel Luthor? Of course he wouldn't. So then you get to the finale. I wish this bloody phone would stop. I'm not stopping. Basically, you get to the finale, right? So it's all kicking off because Brainiac's already injected Lex with what's needed. So Zod can take over his body. And it's really, really awesome. Actually, I've got to go back again to Solitude. Because when you see the Phantom Zone crystal coming at the screen, you see like this ultimate Terrence Stamp Zod, in the kind of glass thing, and it's really awesome. Now, of course, when we do meet a version of Zod in Smallville later on in season 9, he looks nothing like that. But they tried to fix that situation by giving Callum Blue a beard. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So ultimately, Smallville. The Alan Miles era of Smallville did the best finales, and season 5 is no exception. It's all kicking off. So basically, Jor-El tells Clark he has to kill the vessel of Zod, which of course is Lex. And of course, this is a big thing for Clark. He doesn't want to do it. And it's a really awesome finale. And then you get to the ending where you get this big, great scene between Clark and Lex, where basically Lex walks into the barn and he says, how could you lie to me? And all you get this great dialogue. And you know how great Rosenbaum is and how he delivers it so brilliantly. And Clark says to him, you're not yourself. He goes, and he says, you always seem such a nice guy, but you lie to everyone that cares about you. What kind of person does something like that? And then so Clark goes to him, why did you prolong this friendship if you didn't believe in it? He goes, I wanted everything you had. The family, the lifestyle. And so basically he goes to girlfriend. He goes, well, at least I got one of them. So Clark turns to him and says, "You're not yourself." So I don't really know. I never understand at that moment if Lex is Lex or he's already kind of gone and he's nearly Zod. So anyway, in the end, Clark has got the dagger that Jor-El's given him, and he can kill Lex and solve the problem. But this is Clark. This is Superman. He's not going to kill Lex Luthor. He's going to kill the artificial intelligence, which is Brainiac. So he chucks the dagger at him, but that's all part of Brainiac's plan. It destroys all copies of him, but it enables Zod to take over Lex. And then you get this brilliant scene between Rosenbaum and Welling, and Rosenbaum's like channeling Zod. A lot of people didn't like that, and I suppose it would have been awesome just to have an actor playing Zod, but they decided not to go that way. Some people didn't like it. I don't think Rosenbaum was over keen on it. I think Rosenbaum did what they told him to do. I think it kind of works. He's still kind of being Rosenbaum, but he's a bit more like that, rather than the Rosenbaum who's playing Lex. Look, it kind of works to develop Lex Luthor, basically. It works, right? And you get, so what happens is by the end of the episode, he banishes Clark into the Phantom Zone. What a great ending. And you think, what's going to happen next? And of course, by season 6, the premiere, we'll talk about that. But that episode, that continuing episode, is awesome. For Al and Miles to actually give us a Phantom Zone, we see what the Phantom Zone is. That's really awesome. But we'll talk about that when we review season 6. I really enjoyed season 5 of Smallville. I think it was brave. It was bold. They did something really, really different with it. They didn't continue doing what they'd always done. And again, that was really brave by Al Miles. And by killing off Jonathan Kent, they changed everything. And that was done on purpose. They wanted to do that. Smallville is the show that lit the blue touch paper. And it's a show I'm never going to forget.